Well, hello there, and welcome to Almost Solitaire. It's been a while since I uploaded anything, but today I'm at last playing some wargame again, and I'm gonna try out a new system for me, at least. It's called the Battles of the American Revolution, made by Mark Miklos and published by GMT Games. So yeah, so I'm gonna try out a game called Guilford Courthouse. Um, this rulebook is actually I should just mention that I got this game in the first try pack that GMT Games released. So I bought it a few years ago actually, but I haven't really opened it up. So I have now unpunched some counters for this battle and clipped them and all that. So gonna be nice to test this out. I also have the newer second try pack of the same series. So this rule set I have here is from that game. So it's the latest rules I will be using for this game, in case anybody's familiar with these. So you know. But for this battle then, I should also mention that I will not do it like a tutorial or anything like that or show how it works. I will just play it, and I'm sure you will catch the basic rules pretty quick. It's not that complicated, I think. But still, if you compare to, for instance, Commands and Colors I've been playing a lot on this channel, I think it's a tad more complex than that, though. So Guilford Courthouse then, it was a battle fought in, I think it was March 1781, after Cornwallis had been chasing Nathaniel Green, who is located here at the courthouse itself when the battle begins, when the game begins. Cornwallis, the British general, which we have here, have been chasing Green. I'm not sure about exactly how long, if it's both Carolinas, but at least he has been chasing Green's army through North Carolina towards the Virginia, and well, I guess the reason was really that, well, the Brits have taken control a lot of South and North Carolina after the campaign in the South started, and they were hoping to get a lot of Tory loyalist support, which didn't really happen. So there was no big uprising against the rebellion, like a counter rebellion, you could say. But that probably frustrated the British and Cornwallis a lot. So Cornwallis wanted to, with the forces he had, destroy Green's army. Now, I think among the time when this chase was done in the Carolinas or the North Carolina, when I talked about a minute ago, at that point I think the armies were quite even in numbers, and probably Green didn't want to risk that, a battle with even numbers, because he knew that the British were a professional army and he had a lot of militia in his army and all that, right? So he was probably not too keen to battle at that point, so he did these fighting withdrawals and all that. Then also we had the Battle of Cowpens happening before this battle, which actually was a disaster for the British. They lost a huge amount of their best quality troops, which was a huge problem for him, of course. So, well, Cornwallis pretty much wanted to engage Green as soon as possible, and to do that, he tried to make his army move as fast as possible. So he, burned his supply wagons. He even burned his own wagon, Cornwallis, that is, and just to make his move faster and try to catch up with Green retreating towards Virginia. And the chase was against the Dan River there, so Cornwallis wanted to catch him before he could cross. Before Green could cross the Dan River and get into Virginia. However, Green managed to get there first. He got over the river. The historical background in his booklet says it just was a matter of hours actually before the British arrived. So at that point, Green was kind of in safety. Cornwallis had to turn disappointed and tried again to raise the Tories. Not too successful, of course. Green, on the other hand, had a bit more success. He managed to get fresh forces to his army. So his army swelled to double the size of the British at this point, about. And with those numbers, Green thought, well, maybe this is doable now. So he actually went back to North Carolina towards Cornwallis. So now we had two leaders wanting to have a pitched battle, actually. So that's the setting for this, because the Americans were now camping around Guilford Courthouse, so some important road junctions here, I guess. And the British are coming from this road marked B on the map, the Salisbury Road, and they, of course, have heard that the Americans have set up, so they are now keen on attacking. Historically, they went up the New Garden Road, and the main clash were done in this area where the Americans are set up. Over this field they attacked. Green put his, inspired by the success at the Cowpens, Green put up a similar layout of the defenses in a kind of a three-line array. So we had the first line here consisting of North Carolina militia mostly. There are other troops as well. You can see some Continentals here actually. But anyway, this was the first line, and it pretty much asked them to fire twice, 2 volleys, and then they could disperse into the woods and hopefully bringing some disorder to the British lines as they approach the second line, consisting of Virginia militia. So another kind of division here waiting for the British then. The British did clash here. There were also some battles or some part of the battle turning southwards where I think it was the Brits had some German troops with them as well, so they got some Jaegers, for instance, Jaegers and also Grenadiers, or maybe the Guards actually, who were driven more like in the southeastern direction from the battlefield. However, they managed to also get back into the main battle later on after doing some battles with, I think it was Lee's guys who fought them off here. Lee's over here when the battle starts. Anyway, so the Brits pressed on, but with huge losses and both with officers and men, like the rank and file men. Eventually, after hard battle, they approached the main American line where they had the kind of crack troops, Continentals, and also some state troops over here. But at that point, they were kind of weakened. I think it was not sure if it was Highlanders or 64th perhaps, who was the first to press up on here, but they were forced back by the 1st Maryland. But on the later on, there was a about these guys I talked about that went through the flank here and battled from the southern side. They managed to end up here as well, attacking the 2nd Maryland, who were not, as you can see here, it has a bit not that good stats as the 1st Maryland. This has a +2 in the morale, and this is a -1, indicating there's quality difference there. And I learned from somewhere that these guys were more veteran. 2nd Maryland was quite new, and also the composition was not as cohesive as the 1st Maryland. These guys knew each other. These were recruited from different places and didn't know them. And I think there were a lot of officers from the 1st Maryland went over here to 2nd Maryland, and the men didn't really know them and didn't trust them. So there were stuff like that, which I guess is the reason why the designer put a -1 on the morale here, because they were hardly pressed really hard here. But eventually more and more British, of course, turned up towards this line, and at some point then Green took the decision to withdraw from the battle. And with that said, it was a tactical victory for the British, but on the strategic level it was not really that, because they had lost like a third of their men and officers and all that. But they managed to take some guns from the Americans. So, well, you could say it was a draw in a sense. There's also, about this battle up here with the 1st and 2nd Maryland, the Washington Dragoons, who are here when this battle starts, they were doing a counterattack here together with, I don't remember who they were. Maybe it was 1st Maryland coming to help the 2nd, together with the Dragoons, and they managed to do a good attack against some elite, I think it was guys over here, fighting with 2nd Maryland at that point. So 1st Maryland, I think they pivot southwards and attacked. At the same time, the Washington Dragoons came from another direction and clashed into the guards, British guards. And there is an episode there where Cornwallis ordered the British artillery to fire at point-blank range, probably canister, into that pell-mell of close combat over there. I read somewhere that it's not a fact that happened, that there has been evidence that of the opposite, but I don't really know. It could be both ways in my eyes. It sounds crazy that Cornwallis would order such a thing when he already has, his numbers have dwindled down, and to do deliberate friendly fire against your most elite units. That sounds crazy, but on the other hand, it was a desperate situation. The Americans were almost breaking through with their counterattack, so a desperate measure is in that case by Cornwallis. I don't know if that's true, but however, we will see that there is a rule for that in these in the special rules, because as I said in a moment ago, I will not do this tutorial and explaining the mechanics before we start playing, but I want to go through the special rules of this scenario, so and also so I know what they are, because there are probably some exceptions to the normal rules, and maybe some special things like this artillery. I saw it somewhere that we had this well, I can't find it now, but I saw something about it. Let's see. So first of all, we have the unit type. So the British have 3 types of units. They have the regulars, which have the red band at the top, which would be most of these guys, like the Royal Fusiliers over here. Then we have green. Those are Germans, mostly Hessians, I guess, but there are also other Germans. So here we have the Jägers I talked about with the green stripe. By the way, this has an R as well. As you can see, it means it is rifle armed. And thus it also had the first fire, which is a bit more effective when they're doing their first fire with a good load. We also have a yellow stripe. So we have like this, Royal North Carolinians. Those are loyalists. So on the American side, no stripe. That would be the Continentals, like the Marylands. We have a dark blue stripe, which is the state troops. Green has probably borrowed. So we have two over here. I think that's the only state troops. Yeah, I think so. So that would be the green. It has no relation to the leader green here, the general green. And we have House as well, up here on the ridge, defending Guilford, Courthouse, and the important road junction over here. What else? We have two different militia, I will call them divisions. So we have light blue with the Virginia militia, is the second line, and we have the green, which is the first line of militia, and those are the North Carolinians. So that's that. Scenario length, so I would play the campaign games, that would be from turn 1 to 13. Unless we have a substantial or decisive victory happening. And substantial, I guess, is from the base rules. If you make your opponent demoralized on the army morale track, you will win this substantial victory. There's also conditions for decisive victory, which I will go through in a sec. Player order. So the British will play turn 1 first, and then the American player, and then we start rolling for initiative. Who goes first? Both have a starting morale level of 14. Okay. British have 1 momentum chip. I have put it here on the British entry hex, close to it. So, well, this can be used in kind of 3 ways. You can use them for gaining initiative in 2 ways. If you have 3 of these, you can pay all 3, and you will get the guaranteed first go on a turn. Or you can toss in these as many as you want. Like if I would pay this one, I get a +2 modifier for initiative roll. So each shit will give me +2. I think it was +2, maybe +1, but I think it was 2 actually. So you have a better chance to get the initiative, but not guaranteed. The third, and also an important way to use these, are in combat. So whether you are attacking or the enemy, and you are defending, and you are not happy with the roll, you can expend one of these and force a reroll on the combat table. That's not applicable to fire combat though, only close combat. So that's that. We have retreat directions, which is not super clear, to be honest. So let's see here. So we have the British saying south, southwest, and west. And here we have a compass rose. So south would be, pointing towards this hex spine down here. So is this south or is this south? But if you see on the approach from where these guys come, I'll pretty much do it like these 2 hexes are the British priority hexes, and these 2 hexes will be the American. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but I will play it like that. Then we have the how to win section here. So we have this, as I talked about, these decisive victory conditions, and the British, they can win a decisive victory in 2 ways. If they exit 6 strength points of British or British allied, they could not be artillery though, on any of these hexes, 5 hexes over here. So if they can manage to exit 6 strength points out of the map from those hexes, it's an instant decisive victory, because then they have reached kind of the rear of the American army and, you know, disrupting their supply and all that. So that's a decisive one. I have, though, a hard time to see how this can be accomplished. It would be great to hear if someone has achieved that in this game. Why do I say that? Well, simply because, you know, the main British force come in turn 4, and it will take some time for them to reach the American lines. It will take some more time to break through it, and this is difficult terrain over here. It's a lot of woods, ridges, and these what is called gullies, or not gullies, but hold on, they call them ravines. So difficult terrain here, and they will be met by American forces all the way. So I have a hard time to see. I mean, they could force their way through and get there eventually, but I'm not sure the turns are enough to do that. But let's see. Maybe I'm just calculating this one. I just did a quick calculation of, you know, movement points and all that. And okay, if you could move strategically on the road all the way, yes, of course. But you have delaying troops and you have all these American lines here, so it's going to be hard. But it should be hard, I guess. And this didn't happen, you know, historically, so it should not be easily achievable. Okay, there's another conditions for a decisive victory as well. If they kill or capture General Green together with 8 strength points of Continentals. Now, that means pretty much, and it's excluding artillery, so it would be these and, you know, I mean, here we have 6 points, 7, 8, 9, okay. So we have kind of, if I found them all, it's 9 points. So pretty much you need to eliminate, oh, we have Washington's Dragoons. I'm not sure if I counted those. Anyway, you need to pretty much eliminate most of the Continentals to achieve that, including getting green. So another very hard task to accomplish. But I can see why that would be a decisive, because that the Continentals are the core of Green's southern army, right? So if those are crushed, then of course the cause down south is crushed, for the moment at least. Okay, so American decisive victory, they can do that by eliminating or capturing General Cornwallis, together with 16 strength points of British or British allied combat units, excluding artillery and the Royal North Carolina Provincial Regiment. Yeah, that's the one we looked at just a moment ago, I guess. So these guys are not counted, and no artillery. Also hard to achieve, I guess, but well, you need to get some good attacks on those British if you're going to achieve that, including getting Cornwallis. Then we have marginal victory conditions. So American condition says, assuming no decisive or substantial victory, a marginal victory will be awarded if the British fail to meet their marginal victory conditions. So if the British cannot reach their goal, Americans win. And the British is, if the game goes to the last turn, we start counting victory points, which is counted by eliminations and captures and leaders. I mean, captured or eliminated leaders, as well as some victory hexes. So we have 3 victory hexes on the map. We have some stars on them, a blue star. So we have this junction here. We have Guilford Courthouse, of course, and then we also have this bridge here over the Horsepen Creek. So those 3 hexes yield one victory point at the end. And controls is defined by either occupying them or with a non-artillery combat unit, or being the last one to pass through them. And there cannot be any enemy zone of control, because then you lose control of it. There is an exception. If the British control the Guilford Courthouse, the American cannot count the other ones for their benefit. That's that. Some special rules then. Here it is, this British artillery fire that we talked about. So at one occasion, when the American player is doing a close combat, a British unit that is in range and line of sight of a parade or the British artillery unit, the British may fire into the melee. There will be no fire done on any charge. Instead, the Americans conduct their attack, but they are reduced with 2 column shifts, because even though Cornwallis is said to order this fire into the wrong men and the enemy, raking down some, guard units or guard troops, still it did achieve what he wanted. It broke the Maryland and Washington Dragoons attack. So they were forced back and kind of saved the day for the British Army here. So that's why I guess we have this rule. So the Americans can do the attack, but with a lot of penalty on their odds. British Loyalists and Virginia State Troops then. We have Tarleton. Let's see what this says up at the top first. Neither the British Loyalists or Virginia State Troops suffer a negative modifier when in close combat. Okay, so these are not counted like militia. Tarleton, Bloody Tarleton. He's a demi-leader, and he can play tactic cheats for himself only. If stacked with other units or involved in multi-hex attack, he cannot use it. So only if he's attacking himself, he can use all the tactic cheats or cards. I will use the solitaire variant of this. I will not explain it now. You will see it when we reach an attack, how it works. I mean, Lee's Legion then. It's these guys. It also has a star, even though it doesn't have in this booklet. He can use tactic cheats for himself and any other Lee Vanguard unit. And that would be the Lee's Legion Foot. And I guess that is it. Let's see, Lee's Vanguard. It's Lee's Legion Horse, Foot, Campbell, and North Carolina Independent Volunteers. And I guess it's these. Yeah, okay. So he could use his leader capability on any of these units as well. Not the Marquis de Bretigny though, because he's a militia. That's that. So General Eaton and Stevens, those are the militia generals. So Eaton can only command North Carolina militia, including the Marquis de Bretigny that we just looked at. And the North Carolina Independent Volunteers, those would be these guys, yes. Stevens may only command Virginia militia, including Campbell and Lynch. Campbell is over here. Who is Lynch then? Here he is. Okay, of course. The only thing is that he's in the first line already. Seniority. If North Carolina and Virginia militia is stacked together and the same stack also contains Eaton or Stevens, then Stevens may command the mixed stack. Okay. So Stevens could also command mixed stacks. Then we have Singleton's Continental Artillery. It's located here on the road. I think it was 6-pounders on the road here. This unit is attached to the militia. It can draw command and control from either Eaton or Stevens. Okay, so he can, both these guys can command him or the battery, or it's not the battery, I think it's 2 guns or something. Then we have the Marquis de Bretigny here. So special rules, you can see he has parentheses around his combat factor there. This means he can only, when he has 1 strength points when defending alone a hex. He cannot attack when alone. Even if he's participating in a multi-hex and he's alone, he cannot attack. He can attack if he's stacked, and then he contributes with his 1 SP. He cannot be the lead unit in an attack if there are other parade units, order units in the same attack. Or defense, I guess. Movement restrictions. They cannot move west of grid 11, and he's standing on 11, so it's going a zigzag over up here, so he cannot go west of that line. Screening road movement. If the Marquis is alone and exerting a zone of control of the road net, and if Tarleton, meaning the British horse, using regular movement rate is able to move adjacent, then the Marquis is considered screened. Any British infantry units coming up from behind would be permitted to use road movement adjacent and attack him. This is not doable in the normal circumstances. You cannot do a strategic movement, which is essentially that you move on roads, then you can get a double move, but you cannot move, adjacent to enemies. But here you can if the Marquis is screened. But the British will have the strength reduced by half. Okay. And a -1 to the attack. So let's see what we could do. Okay, these could be the light infantry then. Could they reach them from here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not at the first turn at least. Okay, let's see if that happens. Then we have American sortie restrictions. Except for Lee's Vanguard and Marquis de Bretigny, Green's army may not move until released. So they are released on turn 6, or if they get contact with the enemy. So I put these, there is a sheet for that. I put it on turn 6 for now, as that's the turn when they are released, as the situation is. So pretty much so how are they? Okay, so Lynch rifles, these guys, and okay, these guys could actually move already. They are free to move. It's strange, but yes. No, sorry, that's another rule. Sorry, forget about that. It was hold on. Okay, so contact is defined by fire combat, close combat, or line of sight from any American unit to a British or British allied unit, excluding light infantry or dragoons. If that happens, Green will be released 2 turns after the contact. If it would happen before turn 6, you could say. But I wonder what this is then. Okay, once released, the North Carolina and Virginia militia nor the Continental Artillery may move west of Little Horse Pen Creek, which is this and this branch here, and south of Sawpit Branch. Okay, so the militia is pretty much an artillery restricted to be within this area. in here. And here we have Lynch rifles. They are excluded, so they couldn't move outside. That's, I think, what it's meant with this rule. Okay, reinforcements. Okay, nothing too strange there. Guilford Courthouse, McQuiston Plantation, and New Garden Meeting House. They are the only buildings on this map that has an effect, as we can see on the terrain matrix, I guess. Yeah, here we have these. They have some combat effects, and dragoons and artillery may not move into them. So that would be here. That is the McQuiston Plantation. Here we have Guilford Courthouse, and here we have the New Garden Meeting House. So these are more kind of bigger and more sturdy buildings. What's this then? North Carolina Militia. Neither the British or American player receives any army morale adjustments, positive or negative, for capture and casualties inflicted on North Carolina combat units, including Marquis de Bretigny. Okay, sure. Singletons attached artillery is not included in this special rule, so they are treated in a standard way. North Carolina militia combat units are worth half a victory point to the British player for every 2 units rounded down. Okay, so meaning 1 unit is not a single victory point, but 2 or 3 gives you 1, or gives the British 1. Momentum chips cannot be gained by combat against all North Carolina militia force. Okay, that's that. Okay, I'll try to remember that. That was all, actually. So I think we now are ready to start the game. Okay, so I have been thinking somewhat on what strategy we should use as the British player. As they start turn 1, Tarleton will come in on the Mark B here. So we have the historical approach, where the British went up the New Garden Road and spread out on the fields and did their attack. But as I explained in the beginning, oh, here comes my friend. Hello. Hello, Elmar. Then I think it simply will take too much time, you know. On the other hand, there's a southern approach here. If we will go this road and then up to what is called New Salisbury Road, we could hit the flank and we could force the Americans to, you know, shift their whole line towards the south. And if we could, at the same time, try to prevent the Americans from you know, seeing us, getting Green's army activated or sally until towards turn 6, that would be great, because then we could probably get a long way here before they start to react. On the other hand, we have the Marquis here. We have these guys who could. There's nothing saying they couldn't move down this road and put up a kind of speed bumps here, you know. But that could be an approach. But I think a third approach would be to split them. Well, I guess someone there screaming at the screen now saying never split your army. But you know what? I'm thinking of, well, the problem of course for British is they're attacking 1 to 2 in odds, so they don't have the numbers on their side, right? So it could be enveloped pretty easy, and that's the thing I'm a bit afraid of with splitting them. But this is what I'm thinking. We could move the bulk of the army the traditional way up here, but the vanguard, and by the vanguard I'm thinking about the Jaegers, the Lights, and maybe also Webster's, let's call it brigade. We have the Royal Welsh And we have Royal Welsh. I think that's the same as the third foot, right? Yes. And then we had von Bose, these Hessians, or at least Germans. If those could take the southern approach, we would have 5, 6, and 8 strength points moving that on that direction. It's a force to be reckoned with, and also a leader. Webster is influencing combat with a 1 here. The second number is the morale modifier, so nothing good there. But that could be good enough. Maybe also with the support of Tarleton, we could get 10 strength points attacking from the flank, while the bulk of the army with Cornwallis will do the punch on the front of the Americans here, as in history. And the flanking force could have a few options when they reach here. First of all, of course, one motivation to do it is to gain control of these victory point hex here. Secondly, we could take 2 roads here. We could move towards the Guilford Courthouse itself. And that's, of course, not acceptable for the Americans to have British coming this way. So they need to put up some defense here, weaken their line here, or if they only rely on their third line here to defend it against the British. The British would be, if I have these 8 or 10 points here, we will have more Americans, a bit more, with some artillery and green as well. But still, then the Americans needs to defend this line with only militia against Cornwallis punch with, guards and grenadiers and whatnot. So I'm tempted by that. We could also, when we come here, depending on the situation, we could move in that direction and attack the militia in the flank, maybe even encircle some of them. And maybe they need to put down some forces down south, facing south, and by that Cornwallis will have an easier time to punch through and get a quicker move towards the reach over here, where the final battle is expected to take place. One other concern I have with doing that is that, well, Tarleton, it would be great if he could ride beforehand and just scare away the Marquis, who will just, because he will be a pain here, exerting shock here and hindering the British from moving their full allowance. And when they attack, they can just retreat away, as you can do with cavalry if you are attacked by non-cavalry. So Tarleton would be nice to have here, but if I move Tarleton towards this direction, Lee and also the other guys from the Lee's Legion could move down and harass the main line, or the main force, main column, you could say. And that sucks. So if I just decide to do the split thing anyway, sorry about anybody there who thinks I should not, that we should keep the British in one column and conserve them in that way. I will try the split approach just to see if we can get the Americans a bit stressed by that. But for Tarleton, I think in the beginning he will need to be able to support both directions. And when we got the troops moving, we can choose where he goes, if he goes with the main army or if he joins the flanking force. So what I want to do then is he has 5 movement points. I think this is because I read somewhere that Tarleton had much more inferior horse than, for instance, Lee's Legion, which is or Washington's Dragoon, who are his kind of main enemies, you could say, or counterpart on the American side. So they have better horses on the American side. I think that might be the reason why he only moves 5. Not sure, but just thinking. So the problem is, though, we cannot... I want to hinder these guys from running down here. But in the woods, we have no zone of control, so What's the trail? What's the movement rate on the trail? Path, I mean. Okay, it's 1. And you can... Road bonus is allows for road or track. So I think track and path is the same thing here. Too bad I don't use consistent language, but I guess it's that. So yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could come to this junction. We don't need to worry about the marquee. He cannot go to the west of the line 11, you remember, so he needs to stay here. So I will do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would like to go here. If I would have stock here, I would have gone there, but we cannot. We need to protect that road. So that's what I'm gonna do. And that's all, actually, there is. We should perhaps have the sequence of play, just so I don't miss out anything. We don't have an initiative on first turn. We had the movement phase going. We know no rally phase. There's no troops needing to rally yet. We have no artillery, no rifles in range. We will have no close combat. Then we advance the game turn marker to the American turn 1. So what could we do then? Should we come down to threaten here? So, of course, this will be a bit gaming now, because now I know I will do the split. So we could already start moving down some troops this road, right? But should we do that? I think these are 2 rifle units. These are not rifles, it's just light infantry. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We could stack here. I think we do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have Lee's Legion. And the problem, though, if I stack these, I cannot do the cavalry retreat if attacked. But we have 2 points. We are behind this creek. How much is the heavy woods for the forest for dragoons? It's 2 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could attack next turn with an even odds, but we have +1 on the morale. We both have leaders. That will be a 1-to-1 -1 from the start. I don't think Tarleton dares. So let's do this. Now's the question, what should we do with these guys? Not sure if we should split them or not. Or keep them here. They both have 4 movements. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's go down the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, they can go back to the junction with 1 movement if they needed. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can almost, they're in the kind of middle of these 2 junctions now. I think that's a good place to be, so they can react to both directions, and I think that could be a correct historical thing to do, keeping both options open, and waiting for the British. And the Marquis will just wait here. He will see if there's any British approaching from this direction. Yeah, I think that's it, because we don't have any fire or all that. So we advance to turn 2. We will have more British and Germans coming in. But let's see who gets the initiative. So rolling highest, and it's not a critical moment, so we don't need to have, you know, win as the British. I will not use the momentum cheat for that. So I'm just rolling. The red is the British die and the blue is the American die. Highest wins. So the Americans go first. Okay, so forest, no effect in combat. How about we do attack Tarleton? Would that be crazy? We could go here. We will have a 1 against 1 with a +1 modifier from the start. Here we have it. So we will at least get a 1 that would disrupt us, which is of course bad. Kind of, we need to roll a 6 to get a good result, but we have also the tactic cheat. We could get a more plus, but we could also get minus. Maybe it's a risky. Maybe we should stay put, but I'm afraid Tarleton. So these guys, when they enter, they can go 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they cannot attack this turn. But there is a risk that the British get, you know, a double movement. So in that case, they could get up 5 points against 2. That would be a 2 to 1. And they have a +1 modifier, and which we do, so it would be 2 to 1 with a 0 from the start. If they attack across the creek, I guess Tarleton will surround us, but the creek would give a -1 to combat if it doesn't. Because if he can, oh, okay. I'll stay. This guy stays and the Marquis will stay. So I will do no movement as the American player. No rally phase, no defensive artillery or rifle, no close combat. So we go to the British, turn 2. So that we have now, it's a 7 o'clock by the way, in the morning. This is starting really early. So here they come. And now's the thing. I want to use this towards this direction, so I will not do the attack that the Americans were fearing. So the light infantry and the Jägers will both start moving strategically towards this side. And if the Marquis would see these guys, it will not trigger the alarm because these are light troops. So it's just some vanguard coming, you know, so they don't suspect the big bulk of the army coming yet. So let's see now. 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could go to this junction here. They're not seeing each other yet, but that's what I will do. No rally phase, or let's see, do we want to do anything with Tarleton? I think I'll keep him here still, just to make sure these guys doesn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. It would be nice to catch these guys, but I still don't dare to leave this road open for the Americans. I need to stay there with Tarleton, just holding the ground here for waiting for the troops to come. So no more movement there. What I was thinking was, if I would move Tarleton 1, 2, 3, 4, then I could reach the Marquis next turn, you know, and I can attack him because I can pin him down. Remember this special rule: if Tarleton can move adjacent to him, any British troops coming up here can attack without him being able to retreat. So, that's not bad. The thing is though, I open this terrain for the Americans to come into the rear or something. And it needs that I could get a back-to-back with as the British to succeed with this. We could use the momentum for it, but it's not that important. I mean, it's only this guy. Of course, if we get him eliminated, we have the path open for movement without any risk of detection. The thing is these guys move down here, and as soon as these guys come onto the board here and moves here, the Americans see them and the alarm goes off, right? Because these are regular troops, not lights or cavalry. So this means green will activate these troops already turn 4. And we don't want that. So I'm going to stay with him here. I'm going to forfeit my chance to do this surprise attack on these guys. So that was all actually for the movement here. And of course there's no combat. So we go to the next turn. It's turn 3 now. We have more British reinforcements coming. Now Webster comes in. My last forces I will turn towards this direction. So let's see who wins the turn. That's a 6 for the British and a 4 for the Americans. So the British go first this time. So we put them here and start off with the movement phase. 1, 2. We cannot surround him, too bad. But we go 1, 2. Let's do it like that. These guys will now hurry past this open terrain here where Tarleton is holding off these Americans. So let's say 8 points. These guys could actually go 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Yeah, he will go here. But these guys will go 8 points. By the way, in this system, stacking is 6 strength points plus an artillery and unlimited of leaders. And that's in effect all the time, so you can never overstack except at the entry point hexes at the start of the turn when you get reinforcements. So the rule says you need to move 1 unit at a time. But at this point, there are no risk of overstacking unless I would move up north with these guys. But these both will just march towards the southern road, so I'm going to move them together. There will be 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the Royal Welsh and von Bose's regiment is coming here. About 300 men and 200 here and 500 in total. And Tarleton, he's still... Let's see, what do Cornwallis get in the next turn? Do we have any more? Okay. We need to start acting now on the northern road because we need to get these guys. We cannot stay here. I mean, as you see, we're already on turn 3. But Tarleton cannot do it alone, of course. So he will. He will wait, and if we are getting any detection, hold on. If I do the attack, does that mean the alarm goes off even though it's lights? Let's see. Sortie. Contact with the enemy is defined as fire combat, close combat, or line of sight from any American. Excluding light. Okay, so I think if I do this combat, that means the alarm goes off. Anyway, So we can just move up Cornwallis troops next turn and attack pretty much. The alarm will go off anyway. So I guess the only chance to really, if you don't just wait here, which is crazy as the British player, the only way would be to brush off these guys and then move the bulk of the army this way to actually get the alarm go off turn 6. Or if the American would play even more cautious and backing off with these, avant-garde here. Anyway, so we're gonna attack here. Hold on, I have a rifle fire to do first. If I attack, I think I will lose this rifle fire anyway, the first fire counter I mean, so I will do it. So here we go. We're gonna fire some rifles. The first action now for this game. So we have a 2-hit table, we have rifles, and it's 1 point of Jägers. Jägers have... Hold on now, there's some special rule for Jägers. I'm gonna check that up. Here we go. They have something called Strassefire. So the German Jägers may make 2 die rolls against their 2-hit if both of these conditions exist. They are in covered terrain, which is defined by woods. Okay, they are not. They are on a house here. I could have moved them here, but should I allow me to do that? The thing is though, then I am off the road. I will allow me to do that actually. They started here, so I will go 1, 2, 3 with the Jägers. So they are sneaking up in the woods here while the light infantry is going by the road, keeping the attention of the Marquis while these guys, going to the edge of the woods, aiming their rifles, and suddenly we get a bang. If they're in covering terrain, they are now. There's an open flank. There is an open flank, so they can use Strassefire, and then we need to roll, or we can roll 2 dice, which is nice. So I'm going to do that just to see how that works. So we got 1 SP firing adjacent. So the 7 is the base number to hit, 7 or above. Target is light infantry, no. Forest, no, it's clear. Artillery mounted dragoon, yes, it's mounted dragoons. We got a +1 on our roll. Rifle firing first time, yes, we got another plus. And that's pretty much it. So I actually hit with a 5. So if one of these are a hit, that counts as a hit then. But bad roll by the Germans there. They missed the opportunity. Maybe the horses got nervous. They heard something, in the woods cracking and all that, or branches. So they were unaffected by the rifle fire here. And the first fire is now used. Let's put it up there. But now I will do the attack. So Webster is now leading attack against Marquis de Bretigny, who will do the cavalry withdrawal. And I think I need to check that up because I don't remember exactly how that works. And just to be sure that I do it correctly. Hold on, where is that? It's a bit bad because there's no index on this rule book. That would have been nice. Close combat. Diversion. So where do I... Where do I state that I want to... Rifle units are not... They don't need to attack. Otherwise you have to attack if you're adjacent to the enemy. So these guys needs to, but those guys are not... It's not obligatory to attack with the Jägers actually. but I would get the better odds of that. But anyway, these guys would get away. But I wonder where I find that rule. Here are the results already. Let's see. It should be on the close combat. Attacker, defender, who must attack, who must be attacked, diversion, it's not diversion, multi-hex combat, designate attacks, remove in combat sequence, determine odds ratio, lead units, DRMs, resolve. Hey, where's the... Here we have pre-combat withdrawal. Okay, thank you. Cavalry withdrawal. If all the defending units in a close combat are parade order dragoons, yes they are, and none of the attacking units are dragoons, they are not. The defender has the option to announce cavalry withdrawal, which I will do because otherwise they will attack 3-1 with a lot of plus on the roll, so I will get away here. So procedure. Dragoons retreat 3 hexes regardless of terrain cost, following retreat priorities to a hex not adjacent to an enemy unit. Mark the unit with a cavalry in withdrawal marker. Effects. They have zone of control. They may not move or attack. Okay, but... Okay, that's okay. Because it's the British turn, so we know we will get the next turn. So if we withdraw now, we will get rid of this marker before the British can act again. I mean, otherwise they could go here and they would not be able to do another withdrawal, and then these guys could catch up with us and attack us again, if you see. So they defend normally, may not choose withdrawal again. Okay, so we'll just back up 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. And I guess these guys could gain the ground. I assume. Go to step 9. Advance after combat. Okay. The hex is vacant, so these guys could go in here. So they had taken these crossroads now. That was the only attack. And this now got alarmed. He has sent off some messenger to Green saying the British are coming with a substantial force, and they are meaning business because they are attacking us right now with rifles and bayonets. So we will now move this 2 hex forward from when we are. So turn 5 will be the turn when Green's troops are released. And that's it. So we go to the American turn then, because there's nothing else. No. So initiative segment, nothing of course. Movement phase. When do we remove these cavalry? Withdrawal shit. I think it is. Withdrawal markers are automatically removed from friendly units during the rally phase. Okay. So movement phase first. So these guys cannot, of course, not move. These guys... I'm a bit... I don't know what sure to do with these guys. Should I stay with them? At least I hinder the British from moving strategic movement 1 turn, and if they decide to attack with something, I'm behind this creek and in the heavy woods. Okay, that doesn't give me any benefits in combat, but still. So let's see. I'll stay with those. These can't do anything. These guys, let's say they got word of what's happening. They're hearing some distant smattering of rifles and muskets over there. So they are alarmed. They suspect something is happening on the southern road. So they will now move towards the New Salisbury Junction here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nothing else can really move. So that's that. We go to the rally phase, remove the cavalry withdrawal chit. So these guys are now active again. And nothing else to rally. No defensive fire or artillery, no close combat from the Americans. So we're done with turn 3. I think I'll end the session here, and we continue next time with checking who's getting initiative for turn 4. And now the big chunk of Brits are coming into the board over here. So now we're gonna see some action on the northern road at last. It's a bit bad that this road has not been cleared before these guys come, but well, my tactics was to get these guys moving as fast as forward with some force. So let's see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching, and let's see how this develops in the coming turns. Hope you will be back for that. Okay, thanks, and see you next time. Bye for now.